Good morning, everyone. It's Mrs. Cornwallis, and before we start our lesson today, I just wanted to give a big shout out to all of Mrs. Wilson and Mrs. Schumann students, the second graders who are watching our videos every day and practicing their reading, Mrs. Schott students, and to Elena Whalen and her family for joining us on our videos for our at-home readers workshop. We are going to continue on with this awesome book, Mr. Peabody's Apples, and our focus strategy is, what can characters teach us? So we are going to continue on with this strategy today. Now, when we left off yesterday, we learned that Mr. Peabody had been walking home and he picked up an apple, and Tommy Tittlebottom saw him do this and he rushed out to tell his friends because he didn't think that Mr. Peabody had paid for the apple. And Mr. Peabody is a really well-liked character, so let's see what's going to happen here today. The following Saturday, Mr. Peabody's team played another game and they lost as usual, but no one seemed to care because they'd had such a good time playing. That says something about what kind of a coach he is, that everybody enjoyed playing even when they weren't winning. Billy picked up the balls and the bats, and Mr. Peabody set off on his walk home. He waved to everyone he knew, and they waved back. And once again, he stopped outside Mr. Funkadeli's fruit market, picked up the shiniest apple and dropped it into his bag and continued on his way. Across the street, Tommy Tittlebottom and his friends watched Mr. Peabody, and they were amazed at what they saw. Mr. Peabody had not paid for his apple. They couldn't wait to tell all of their friends, who told their parents, who told their neighbors, who told their friends in the town of Hatfield, which wasn't a very big town. Oh boy, this sounds like this rumor is just going to be spreading all over the place. And knowing that when you think about how to describe this character in the beginning, he was so well liked, it seems like maybe there must be some explanation that these kids aren't seeing. The Saturday after that, Mr. Peabody was standing all alone on the baseball field, wondering where everybody was. Then he saw Billy walking toward him with a sad look on his face. "Hello, Billy. Glad you're here, but where's the rest of the team?" asked Mr. Peabody. Billy remained silent. "What is it, Billy?" he asked again. Billy didn't look up. "Everybody thinks you're a thief," he said to the ground. Mr. Peabody looked confused. He took off his hat and scratched his head. "Who says I'm a thief, Billy? And what did I steal?" he asked. "Tommy Tittlebottom and his friends said they saw you take an apple from Mr. Funkadeli's fruit market twice, and they said you didn't pay for them," answered Billy. "Ah," said Mr. Peabody, putting his hat back on his head. "Let's go and talk to Mr. Funkadeli about it, shall we?" Now, isn't that interesting? He doesn't even seem angry or upset, only confused. And it seems like he's a really patient character, thinking that he's going to get to the bottom of what's going on here. So, I have a funny feeling Mr. Peabody's got a really big lesson for us. Boys and girls, we will continue on and find out what the explanation is tomorrow in our reading. But as you're reading today, I want you to think, what is the lesson that this character is teaching us? I will see you tomorrow.